Welcome to another edition of the Backyard Professor Responds videos. What I'm about to share with you tonight is pretty doggone interesting and very exciting for me. The continuation of UFO evidence giving us a very spectacular insight because this has been happening for the last couple of decades is worth looking into. George Knapp and Jeremy Corbel have shown brand new U.S. Navy footage of Tic Tacs, never before seen. Very, very cool. Richard Dolan has given some insights. I will do a couple of clips from him. I will do some clips from George and Jeremy. I saw Christian Harloff, Down to Earth, has also commented on it. I don't have time to include everybody, but this is huge news. It's stuff like this that keep us coming back to this topic. So I am very excited. I want to start actually almost with Jeremy Corbel's summary of it. Very interesting. Before I do, let me just say, I am having the Major back. We're working on getting him a computer and a microphone so that we can see him and hear him much better. So I'm very excited about that. And I am in communication with the Tedesco brothers, and we are working at getting them back on the show. And I'm going to see if I can talk them into doing a series with me, because their material is very critical and crucial and cool. This weekend's a tough weekend for me. A very dear friend of mine lost his son, and Saturday is the funeral. And so I don't even know if I'm going to be back in time on Sunday for the Sunday Night Live. I'm not sure yet. If I can, I will, but it's going to be a tough weekend for me. So we are in the process of getting some very, very good materials for you. So hang in there with me. In the meantime, I start those very, very good materials for you right now. Let's take a look.
But look, this is so important. This is data. This is what people are asking for. This is what people want, is the footage and to be able to analyze. So look, we're doing our best to give people more of this. And a lot of people have taken risk in order to put things like this out. Let me just go over a few of the bullet points again. So when you're watching the footage, people understand. Here are the facts. There were 4 Tic Tac shaped UAPs observed that night. The craft was detected by multiple reconnaissance platforms. So that's including radar and this thermal system that I'm calling Sapphire, because that's the system itself. No flight control surfaces. When you look at the footage, what you see is what you get. This is something that Commander Guts talked about in episode 2 of Weaponized. You know, you typically see heat plumes, exhaust, all that. None of that. You can see with your own eyes. None of that is there. So if you understand thermal, it should be there. Even to hover, even if it's just hovering, especially if it's hovering, it should have some way to be sitting up there, and you're not seeing it. Craft were self-illuminated, and we know that because the witness first saw it lift up out of the water. That's what alerted that individual to go to their radar and see what targets they have or what contacts they have. And they were solid, 4 solid targets. All the craft were observed in an apparent coordinated, synchronized, instantaneous departure, indicative of shared communication. This is really nailed home to me by the service members. These 4 objects were up there, and they all moved at the same time, just whoosh, gone. And that's documented through our interviews with them.
The following is a witness interview of the USS Jackson UAP encounter.
We only see lights because it's at nighttime. It's always at nighttime. But to see the lights emerging from water. So I go out to the bridge wing. I'm noticing things and lights on the horizon, and like city lights or any other ships that are out there. So seeing a light that is lifting up, you can see it. I know the difference between a light on the horizon coming up and a light coming out of the water. When you've been on the water more in your life than you haven't been, you know the difference. This thing was coming up. I wasn't shocked that I was seeing it. I was shocked I was sharing the experience. Us looking at the same exact display of Sapphire, but when we start talking about all of the objects, all 4 objects. And what we witnessed was all 4 of them, all in synchronous, jetting off into the abyss. All 4, all timed together and all left. And we were like, holy shit. They were all, maybe the second they left, maybe 3-4 seconds pass, I run to my station and I look at my radar and they're all gone. They're all off radar. And I was like, that's it. They all zoomed off. But it's clear that they're in communication with one another and synchronized, like 3, 2, 1 countdown, let's all go type thing, unless there's some level of like one entity is controlling all 4 and then they all leave at the same time. But yeah, they all left exactly at the same time.
And that's on record, recorded, documented.
That's a brief synopsis. I want to stop it there. Now, I'm not going to steal all their thunder either. I'm going to leave the majority of the video materials that they show on their site, and I will leave a link in the description of mine. I mean, they've done the footwork. They've done the excellent research. Knapp is well known for being superior UFO researcher. Jeremy Corbel, more controversial, more exciting a little bit. But yeah, overall, I would say this is an absolutely stunning new development. I really appreciated a few of the insights that Richard Dolan also presented that I will share with you as I can. Let's go to the first part of this whole deal with Corbel and Knapp.
Well, it's springtime, when hope springs eternal, when love is in the air, birds and bees are coming out, and when UFO videos filmed by the military suddenly blossom.
These guys in the U.S. Navy who are out there off the coast of Southern California are seeing these things all the time.
We're going to release something new today that shows that this activity is ongoing. This is from 2023 off of USS Jackson. This is new footage the world hasn't seen, and it shows what is one of apparently 4 Tic Tac shaped UAP. All the craft were observed in an apparent coordinated, synchronized, instantaneous departure indicative of shared communication. This is really nailed home to me by the service members.
This thing was coming up and I wasn't shocked that I was seeing it. I was shocked I was sharing the experience.
So that's kind of a brief intro to this really amazing occurrence. And I want to keep going with Corbel. I think what I'll do is I will just go through Knapp and Corbel first, and then I want to add on some of the cool insights that Richard Dolan, who is himself no slouch to the UFO scene, he is stellar research material man, and I want to share some of his insights, and then I'll wrap this up. Let's keep going.
Military footage has done a lot for the UFO topic, more than I think people give it credit for.
Well, let's take an example. Tic Tac. The Tic Tac incident off the Southern California coast, recorded in 2004, U.S. Navy aviators, Dave Fravor, they encounter this thing. You and I had reported on it for a while. Then it becomes part of the New York Times story in December 2017, and kaboom, it's explosive. The power of that video and Dave Fravor's testimony made that, I think, the most consequential UFO of all time, in a sense, because there was something to see and yet testimony to back it up. And I know that people have analyzed that video over and over again, but really it remains unidentified to this day. And later on in this conversation today, we're going to see more Tic Tacs, but that's just one of the examples that's been released that really changed the narrative on the UFO topic. Gimbal, go fast. We also released some photos way back. You'll recall you and I were traveling around in 2018, going to these UFO conferences, and had reported to people, U.S. Navy pilots, Oceana on the East Coast, are seeing unknown objects every single day. And I think people thought we were making it up. And then, then we were able to release some of the photos, the acorn, the sphere, the metallic blimp with payload.
Yeah.
Here they are. And, that had been sitting in our archives for a while. Didn't really know what to make of it. But as we learned, those Navy pilots flying out into their training area were seeing these objects every day, every single day, different sizes, different shapes, and they'd just sit there for days, not acting like drones, not acting like blimps. They're with They were sitting there against really high winds, way up, and they photographed them. And, and later we see Ryan Graves came forward and testified to the fact that Navy pilots were in fact seeing those things every day, including the spheres inside a box.
So this is the part of the discussion that I find intriguing. Is it's not happening. This kind of a testimonial is not happening with people who want to start a YouTube channel and grift on people. These are people serving their country, Navy, U.S. Air Force, Army, etc., who are in their daily operations of practice, in their daily routines of keeping sharp with flying their jets, of looking at their radar, of learning how to study the ocean underneath, on top, the air, etc. They're not looking for UFOs. The UFOs are always just there, especially in this particular spot off the coast of Southern California, where these 4 Tic Tacs in 2023 were seen, and they did get one visual. Corbel explains that he is still working to get the rest of the tapes. They didn't get all of the video, but they got a very beautiful one, and he'll show you that. But they are steadily real objects being seen by various types of recording instruments that I think gives this its intrigue. Let's keep listening.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, we knew that what we were reporting, you had great sources on that. We knew, and you had evidence. I mean, we knew it was correct, but it took a little while to catch up. But I think people need to see it to believe it. And they also need to see it and understand it. And so I think we've gotten to a point where people understand what forward-looking infrared, what FLIR is, what the black and white footage that you see is. You're seeing a thermal signature. Normally, you would see wings, tail, rotor. You would see rotor splash, heat differentials. You see propulsion typically. And that's not what you're seeing in a lot of this footage. And so I think the audience is a little bit wiser now to this. And I think, again, the military film footage, it comes with better sensor systems, but it also comes with people who are not seeking the limelight. These are people taking a risk to come forward or to bring footage forward. So I think that gives it, in my mind, a lot of credibility, especially when we go in, we talk with people, we figure it out.
That is what makes this so unique, is these guys are not grifters. They're not writing books. They are not putting together documentaries. For the most part, they remain silent. Later on, both George and Jeremy say that it is due to some of the previous videos that they have made in this incredibly tremendous series of Weaponized that helped some of these 2023 Navy personnel bring forward this information. And one of the cool things about it, sort of a coincidence, if you will, is these gentlemen actually recorded this 2023 incident, and they reported it to Admiral Gallaudet. Interestingly enough, that's kind of a fun part of the story.
We're going to release something new today that shows that this activity is ongoing. This is from 2023 off of USS Jackson. This is new footage the world hasn't seen. It's thermal footage, and it shows what is one of apparently 4 Tic Tac shaped UAP without normal signature management, without normal things that you'd see. And look, the footage itself, it needs to be understood, right? So you look at it, but you got to really understand what you're looking at, and it'll help. It'll help,
Just as a warning to the interpretation of this video, shot off a thermal screen at night, way out to sea, complete darkness. People are going to gripe, wow, it's grainy footage. Yeah, it's nighttime. It's not an IMAX camera. It's like the USS Omaha, which, even as recently as a week ago, 60 Minutes is trying to dismiss that, as so many have done. We don't know what that is. It's got to be a drone. A 14-foot long foot wide circle that follows a ship at night for more than an hour, and there are 13 or 14 of them picked up on radar, appearing and disappearing. What the hell was that? It did go into the water. We know it did. Attempts to dismiss that, I'm sure we're going to see some of the same kinds of things with the video we're about to see. But look, it hasn't been explained. They don't know what that is. We don't have something like that can do what that object did. It did disappear in the water. It was a transmedium. We don't know where it came from. We couldn't track it. We haven't been able to shoot those things down. So it's significant when our military guys see something that they know is not ours. They don't know whose it is, but they know it is something very unusual.
And what else helps make this even more intriguing is we are getting discussions, we're getting evidence, we're getting data, not only from the public sector, from normal people, but also in highly trained settings like the military settings. And that is a 1-2 punch, because there are so many angles of this that come from so many different walks of life that are dramatically different, with entirely different goals, different knowledge, even different cultures. And yet, in many instances, the same kinds of unknown phenomenon with their weird situations are showing up. This is intriguing to me. I like this very much. Let's keep going.
That, but they don't know what they're looking at. This is thermal. This is heat signature. This is where we have a better optic system, especially at night. So it's not just like a light you're seeing. You should be seeing the propulsion system, not just the Tic Tac shape. And you're not seeing that because it doesn't exist. Now, when you target at the same distance planes on known routes, which is something that this operator did, right? You see the cross of a normal aircraft. You see the normal jets. You see all that stuff. In this footage, you don't. So it's not grainy. It's actually giving you more information than if you had a normal camera.
And that's the other angle on this that I am so appreciative of. The military is going to have different kinds of surveillance equipment, capture equipment, imaging equipment, giving us different views than we, the public, are, and integrating their video and photographic materials with what we, the public, are capturing is actually a really good cross-check, as well as filling in of so many gaps. And this is a tremendous boost to the overall understanding that we really are dealing with an actual and real phenomenon. This is exciting. We live in a great time. I'm just not kidding. That is a lot of fun to know.
We should point out going into this, and we're about to see the video, these guys in the U.S. Navy who are out there off the coast of Southern California are seeing these things all the time. I mean, it's not just here and there. They don't always get to record images of these things, but it is not uncommon for them to see these unknowns popping in and out of the water or zipping around or doing things that they shouldn't be able to do, correct?
Yeah, it's almost like a joke. Some of the guys on these ships say we're almost immune to it. We don't even report it sometimes up the chain of command. It's not a direct threat to us. We're on mission for something else, or we're just moving out. Like in this case, we're moving out from like a really unhostile area just off of the coast of California, our favorite sweet spot for UFOs.
Well, we know it's been happening since 2004 at least. We know it was happening in 2019. And we know that as recently as 2023, it was going on as well, because that's what we're about to get into, correct?
Yeah. So this is February 15th, 2023, warning area 291, which is just off the coast of California, right in that sweet spot, where a lot of the activity was seen on the West Coast. The platform that this is filmed on is the Star Sapphire, which is the same thing as the USS Omaha. The USS Jackson is the ship in 2023 in the Combat Information Center where this was filmed. So again, the Sapphire is it's a multi-spectral imaging system. So it's got FLIR, it's got a couple different kind of imaging systems it has, but this is at night, so they're using FLIR. So basically, in 2023, the U.S. Navy encountered 4 Tic Tac shaped UAP off the coast of California. One is kind of featured because that's what it punches into in this footage, and it's personnel from the USS Jackson in the Combat Information Center that filmed it. One of the vehicles of unknown origin was observed exiting the water. So we'll talk about that. Not on the camera. This is how it got sighted in the first place. They're up on the bridge and someone sees a craft come up out of the water, almost like doing a systems check, just slowly rising up out of the water. And then it transitioned directly into flight, which is, demonstrating kind of what on your Netflix show it showed, which is true transmedium capability, moving from water to air and maybe beyond seamlessly. And you'll see there's no flight control surfaces. There's no conventional propulsion signatures like heat plumes, exhausts. The UAPs were detected and observed. This is very fascinating in an instantaneous synchronized departure, like all 4 of them. We know it's not camera artifacts, which we'll get into later. And look, again, the operator, the purpose, the capability, the origin, the intent are all unknown. And these craft, what we're about to show you, is a true UAP. It's an unidentified object.
This is the kind of stuff we're looking for. This is the kind of data that we need and want. Now, they will show their video clip, and I'm not going to show their video clip because it's their story. They deserve full credit. Go watch it on their channel if you're curious. I don't want to take their thunder. It's from 12:50 to 14 minutes and 4 seconds, right? But they are talking about a little bit about it afterward, and I have one more clip from them I want to share with you, and then we'll look at what Richard Dolan has to say. This is so cool how they have been helping bring this fabulous material to the forefront. This is what we want.
So again, just to kind of paint the picture, somebody's looking out on the bridge. They see one of these craft come up out of the water and rise up. They run over to their radar, and in fact, they do see 4 hard targets, like distinguished targets, not ghost targets, like they're there. They then move over to this thermal camera, Sapphire, and just like the USS Omaha, and they're able to see big picture and then punch in. And they're kind of like making jokes as they talk about it, which shows you that they see these things sometimes. They're talking about quick, scramble the jets. They're kind of uncomfortably making jokes. And then somebody goes, well, it wouldn't surprise me, I tell you. And then somebody,
that shape kind of looks familiar, doesn't it? What would you call that? Kind of tic-tacky?
Yeah, that's what they called them. They called them the 2023 Tic Tacs. And the shape itself, it's not quite spherical. It is pretty much identical to what you see with the Tic Tac UFO released, filmed in 2004.
Okay, now understand, I skipped their video. It's there. And I wanted to show you this part because this is what we're asking for. Don't just tell us about the incident. Show us the video and then talk through it. Tell us what you think. Explain what's going on, etc. They do a lot of that in this video. Like him or hate him, I know he's got both distractors and supporters. This is one of Jeremy Corbel and George Knapp's very best weaponized programs. This was sensational. Very well done. Just very incredible. I loved the full analysis. I loved them being able to show the video, and then they showed the video again while they were talking. They begin explaining the video, etc. I'm not going to show you all that. I highly encourage you to go watch them, but this was good. This is the kind of data and analysis that we're hoping for more of in the future. It's why I'm going to have the Tedescos on my program, because this is how they do it as well. So excellent job. Congratulations, Jeremy Corbel and George Knapp, and thank you for such a tremendous coverage. I really personally enjoyed that program. One of their best, in my opinion. Now let's jump over to Richard Dolan.
A couple of things about this. So first of all, the new footage shows thermal imagery captured from the ship's Combat Information Center using something called the Sapphire system. And this is similar to the equipment that was on the USS Omaha from those objects that were recorded back in 2019, if you recall. In this instance, Navy personnel documented at least 4 Tic Tac shaped objects, with one witness initially observing one of the craft rising from the ocean before transitioning directly into flight. So that's transmedium capabilities. That makes it particularly interesting to me. I'm in the middle of publishing a 3-volume history of USOs, unidentified submerged objects, and this is yet another one that we're just learning about. So a couple of details from this encounter, very simple. So you got the 4 Tic Tac shaped objects detected both visually and on radar. One craft coming from the water. All of the objects were self-illuminated. They exhibited what was called synchronized and also like instantaneous departure. So suggesting that they're obviously coordinated with each other. They're communicating with each other in some way. And they disappeared simultaneously from radar after they were seen departing.
I can't help it. I know we heard all that information. But number one, I really like Richard Dolan's presentation style. I mean, who doesn't, right? The guy is just class. But I do like how he explains stuff. He gives the chart. He shows us step by step. He does this in his video. I will also leave a link of his video in my description as well. So let's keep going and see what else Richard says. I'm just going to skip. Richard's is a much shorter presentation than Corbel and Knapp's. They go for about a half an hour. Richard is about 13 minutes. So both well worth watching. I thoroughly enjoyed both of them.
It's for everything. I would just add my own thoughts here. You're talking about the long history of UFO encounters involving the United States military. The 2004 Tic Tac incident has achieved a kind of almost legendary status by this time. I mean, not only did it involve multiple credible military witnesses that was aboard the USS Nimitz carrier group, but it was also documented through radar, through infrared, and through visual means. So that's a very significant encounter. You cannot overstate its importance. It essentially broke through decades of official denial and became the cornerstone for a new era of UFO or UAP acknowledgement. So now we have evidence that suggests this 2004 Tic Tac incident was not an isolated occurrence. This footage from 2023 showing, indicating multiple of these types of objects, that's a profound continuation of this pattern. You got witnesses saying they observed 4 of these objects with at least one emerging from the ocean. So again, this confirms once again the transmedium capabilities that have been reported in countless USO cases through the decades. I've just spent the last 3 years delineating hundreds of these encounters, and there are so many transmedium cases that have now that I've been able to collect and are publishing in my 3-volume history of this. So there's, there's several aspects of this new case that I think really should demand our attention. First, again, the persistence of the Tic Tac design across basically 2 decades, that suggests a continuity of presence. So whoever or whatever is operating these craft appears to have maintained a consistent technological approach over a considerable period of time, a couple of decades. So this, I think, my take is that this counters the notion that we're talking about experimental craft being tested for brief periods before they are replaced. This is strikes me as a permanent type of design, as it were.
That was a very important point, and this is the increased value of the 2023. This is just a couple of years ago. But we had some in 2019, same type of craft. Interestingly, with the same type of properties when viewed on radar, as opposed to when viewed on infrared, as opposed to another system looking for heat signatures, shapes, odd movements and behaviors, etc. And then we have the one from 2004. And these are only the reported cases. As Knapp indicated, these guys are running into this steadfastly, and a lot of it is the same, at least over the ocean, involving with the military. Now, civilians, us, we, the Chris Bledsoes, the Jake Barbers, others, are indicating several different styles of UFOs. And yeah, the criticisms are valid in some respects, but are the UAPs showing up in by different means in different types of vehicles to civilians as opposed to military? If Corso is to be believed in his book, The Day After Roswell, the military was using EMP beams from guns shooting the UFOs down because of the wrecking their magnetic capabilities and shooting the craft down, and they were crashing. And so they quit flying in saucers so much. But it seems like the Tic Tac is one of those that we can genuinely say this is a transmedium vehicle. Well, we saw that little clip that Corbel just showed of that orb, that light that went down into the water and then was zipping around under the water also. So are the orbs that some claim beings step out of those orbs and communicate with you, are those a different type of thing? So it's remarkably interesting that the changing, I was going to say the evolution of, but if the aliens are intelligent enough to realize that, well, our saucers get shot down far easier than our light orbs or the Tic Tacs, etc., then we're going to quit flying so many saucers. We're going to start showing up in different vehicles. That's one option to understand it, right? But the consistency through time eliminates this idea. It's ours. We're just testing it. Well, are we going to test something for 20 years like that nonstop and have it be the same shape, give off the same type of signatures under the same types of investigating imaging materials like the infrared and like regular video and like the radar, etc.? Are we going to keep doing that nonstop for 20 years to see if it tests out all right? That's a pretty good point by Dolan, in my opinion. Let's keep going and see what else he says. This man is full of wisdom.
Second, the transmedium aspect of this, where objects are emerging from the ocean, reinforces what many researchers have long documented, that these phenomena demonstrate capabilities far beyond our known aerospace technology. The ability to operate with equal facility in space, in air, and in water points to propulsion systems that seem to manipulate fundamental physical forces in ways that we have not yet mastered. And third, this incident apparently was not forwarded up the chain of command or to AARO, that is the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. And if that is the case, which it appears, that's particularly troubling, I think, because it really suggests an ongoing compartmentalization and information control within our military, within our intelligence structures, even after Congress has mandated reporting and investigation of such phenomena. We're still apparently having significant numbers of these encounters that are being withheld from official channels. That's what it looks like to me. As I've documented this extensively in my 2 volumes of UFOs in the National Security State, for example, this pattern of information suppression has been consistent since at least the late 1940s.
He makes a legit point. Now, the new head of Arrow, and Corbel and Knapp talk about him also, Kolotsky, or however you pronounce his name, he has come flat out and said he is interested in pursuing the UAP theme, but I do believe George talked about him, and he's actually talked with him, and he says, my hands are handcuffed in certain respects. I can't just tell all. There are higher ups than me who are still controlling even me. So again, this theme of, will our government ever give us full disclosure? I have grown quite skeptical of that, but that's not a crisis. I've also come to recognize the really cool opportunity for all the rest of us to give ourselves this knowledge. We don't need the government to tell us this. We need to get involved ourselves. And that, in my opinion, that's pretty exciting, because now we get to be part of the story, and we get to get caught up in the adventure, which is very, very much well worth it from those who have their experiences. So we'll keep on seeing. One more point from my friend Richard Dolan, from our friend Richard Dolan. Dolan is everybody's friend because he's just such a magnificent UFO researcher, and we do appreciate all of his hard work, and we love his books too. At least I do. I have thoroughly enjoyed reading this man's writings and research. Let's take a listen.
Broader UFO or UAP research community, I think that this new evidence is more powerful validation that demonstrates the phenomena that was captured in the original Navy videos released in 2017. Tic Tac, Gimbal, Go Fast. These are not anomalies or misidentifications. Those were, just like these now, these later ones are representations of an ongoing reality that continues to unfold. I think the implications are quite profound. We're witnessing objects that demonstrate capabilities well beyond known human technology, operating with impunity, seems to me, in sensitive military areas, showing particular interest in our naval operations, demonstrating an ability to transition between mediums that really defines our conventional physics, at least so far. We're not talking about just lights in the sky here that can easily be dismissed. These are solid objects recorded by military personnel, exhibiting characteristics, frankly, that challenge our understanding of what is technologically possible. And I certainly would say we need to maintain scientific rigor in our analysis. But I think, we want to acknowledge that the evidence increasingly points toward a non-human origin for at least some portion of these phenomena.
I mean, he says it so well. I envy him, man. He is articulate. He's handsome. He's very, very intelligent. He's well known. He's respected. He's friendly. He's on our side, and he is a tour de force. And I'm very grateful to be alive while so many of these other excellent researchers, the Knapps, the Corbels, the Tedescos, the Barbers, Dolans, yes, even the Greers, all of them, we're all after the same thing. And I get it. Egos clash. I get it. People get upset. Yeah. Some people make more money than others, and it causes jealousy and so on and so forth. But we're all after the same thing. And when information like this comes out, I can't help it. I have to sit up, pay attention, and say, hey, wait, that's pretty decent analysis of decent coverage. Not the best. None of it ever has been. But in a way, the cumulative impact of now seeing the pattern. The pattern's the same pattern. 2004, 2019, 2023. It's the same type of craft. Interestingly enough, in the general same area, dealing with the general same type of humans, the military personnel in their great big ships and in those flying aircraft, this pattern is significantly strengthened because of this newest recent find. And it's terrific to be, well, in the know through the help of others, because we're all helping one another, hopefully, to get to the bottom of this, because it's going to take all of us. Every one of us have something to offer. Every one of us have something to contribute. And that's what makes this adventure so dadgum exciting. So thanks for watching my Backyard Professor videos and responds and lives. I will be back as soon as I can with much more information coming forward. In the meantime, remember, do good, be well, have fun, make lots of friends, and I will see you guys soon. Have a good night.